Now available on Kickstarter, John Haynes at Death's Door. The man who rules the world takes on the Greek god of death in this all-new Kickstarter exclusive John Haynes comic book. Put in your pledge and get the standard, variant, or retro covers of John Haynes at Death's Door and other great stretch goal rewards on Kickstarter today. Marvel Cinematic Universe gave us Falcon, War Machine, and Black Panther. However, the Marvel Cinematic Universe really didn't do a job of developing your Falcon, your War Machine, or your Black Panther to be full characters like Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America are in their movies. Now, I find it interesting that your Tony Stark, your Steve Rogers, and your Thor could go out here and have love interests, but your Jim Rhodes, your Sam Wilson, and your T'Challa were not allowed to have girlfriends in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And when I look at the Falcon, War Machine, and Black Panther characters, they seem like they're being emasculated and neutered in the Marvel Cinematic Universe to be asexual instead of being the heterosexual black men they are in the comic books. Now, I've often talked about how your black characters in white universes are seeming like background characters in a white world. And that's what we see in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We basically see how the black characters are just basically there to be in the background of the universe and not be fully fledged characters the same way the white characters are. Now, I find it interesting that your Falcon and Winter Soldier, which was supposed to be a series about the Falcon becoming Captain America, did not feature a love interest for your Sam Wilson. Here's an entire series where your Sam Wilson is supposed to be the lead character or building up to be the lead character, but he doesn't have his own version of Peggy Carter or Sharon Carter. No, he's basically there to be the person who takes over for Steve Rogers as the lead hero, but he doesn't get to have a love interest like a lead hero. No, Sam Wilson is made to be asexual, and he's made to be what I call the good black boy who goes out here and is going to be the hero who fills the man's shoes, except in the way a man goes out here and is a hero as related to white characters. Your white characters, they're allowed to have a love interest, they're allowed to save damsels in distress, but the black male hero, he's supposed to save ideals, but he's not allowed to save a damsel in distress and be able to express himself in a sexual manner. And that is the height of white supremacy as I see it, because the black man, he's not allowed to have a woman, and that's something that the white supremacist wants to see in his media. Yeah, he'll allow the black man to be the hero, but he won't allow that black man to be the definition of manhood that most white heroes are allowed to be. Now, what I find to be, again, interesting about your Sam Wilson is that, yes, he's allowed to put on the Captain America costume, but he's not allowed any of the privileges of being a hero, which is having a love interest and being able to show that he can love a black woman the same way Steve Rogers was allowed to go out here and love Peggy Carter in the first Captain America movie, or Sharon Carter in the Winter Soldier. And your Winter Soldier, he's allowed to show that he can be somebody that the girls can find attractive. And what's really troubling is your Winter Soldier, he was allowed to flirt with T'Challa's sister, but your Sam Wilson isn't allowed to go out here and flirt with the ladies and go out here and get with the ladies the same way that Steve Rogers was allowed to. Now, the same thing happens with your Jim Rhodes, also known as War Machine, and your War Machine basically is just there to be Tony Stark's butler and sidekick, and he's not allowed to even be a character the same way Tony Stark was. Now, your Tony Stark, all throughout the Iron Man series, in the beginning, he was shown to be a ladies' man who could get with all the ladies, but as the movie progressed, he showed an interest in Pepper Potts, who was presented to be his love interest, but Jim Rhodes was a neutered boy throughout the entire Iron Man series, and he basically got emasculated in Captain America Civil War when they basically crippled him by having him fall out of the sky once Vision damaged his armor. So instead of your Jim Rhodes being shown to be a guy who could have a girlfriend like he did during the second David Michelini and Bob Layton run where they introduced Marcy Pearson, or the Len Kamenetsky and Kevin Hopgood run where we saw Jim Rhodes swirling it up with Ray Lacoste, we don't get to see Jim Rhodes being the masculine man that he was in Marvel Comics. No, instead of us getting to see the strong masculine man that Jim Rhodes was in the comics, we get a black male who is just basically there to be in the background of the Iron Man movies, while Tony Stark got to be the center focus of the story. And I guarantee you that in the upcoming Armor Wars, we're going to see your Jim Rhodes basically made into a child and possibly killed off in the Armor Wars, so that Ironheart can be the center focus of the building series. And this is, again, insulting to black men, because the black male character, he can't be a man inside of these Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, but he can be the background character in somebody else's project, and he's the background character in his own project, like your Falcon was in Falcon and Winter Soldier. He's being set up to be Captain America, but he's being treated like a background character instead of being treated like a hero is in most of these movies with white men, where the hero is shown being a strong masculine man, and he's shown being able to express himself in every way, including his sexuality, because he's allowed to be that man who can save the damsel in distress. He's allowed to have a love interest who we can have a relationship with, but in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, black men are not allowed this, and this was shown to us in the movie Black Panther. Now, your Black Panther is the most egregious of the three examples, and your Black Panther is egregious because here you have T'Challa, who is the lead in his own movie, but T'Challa is not allowed to have a love interest. Yes, they say that he may have been dating Nakia, but they don't really show her being with T'Challa throughout the movie in a romantic way. No, what they do to neuter T'Challa is basically they infantilize T'Challa by showing him being nurtured by his mother, nurtured by his sister, nurtured by his girlfriend, and not showing us a black man being masculine and strong, and showing that he can love a sister, and showing that he can express love towards a sister. We don't get to see that with T'Challa in Black Panther, and this is the most egregious because the entire feature film was supposed to be about T'Challa being a hero, but T'Challa isn't allowed to be a hero in his own movie because passively, yes, they title the movie Black Panther, but they make it all about building the world of Wakanda aggressively so that we won't see an image of strong black manhood or strong black masculinity, and we won't see a black man loving a black woman. No, this is all done by design because they don't want you to see a black man being the kind of hero who can not only go out here and save the world, but go out here and have a reason for saving that world, which is his black woman. Because back in the 70s with the blaxploitation films, at least we got to see some black men being men and going out here and fighting with the woman that they were working with, and as they worked together, we saw the black man being loved by his own woman. And we don't get to see that with these Marvel Cinematic Universe movies where the black man is supposed to be a superhero, but that superhero doesn't have a love interest, that superhero doesn't have a reason for being there outside of being in the background of some white hero's story. And what's sad is that these heroes have their own movies, and yet they're still in the background of the white Marvel Cinematic Universe and treated basically like background fodder. And in that background fodder, these characters are infantilized and made to look like children instead of looking like strong, masculine men. And that's something that, again, I have an issue with, because as a guy who writes stories featuring black heroes like John Haynes, I always make it a point to show you that black man at the side of a black woman, and that black man having a love interest that is a black woman, like with Easteen, and showing the black man saving the damsel in distress. That is something that guys want to see. That's something black women want to see. A black woman wants to see a black man being a man. A black woman wants to see a black man being strong and masculine. And a black woman wants to see a black man going out of his way to protect her. But we don't get to see that because they show us black boys in most of these Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. They don't show us black men being men. They don't show us black men taking the lead. They don't show us a black man going out here and looking to protect and defend what is his. No, they don't want to show us that because they don't want black boys to start getting inspired to be the kinds of black men who will go out here and look to push back against things like white supremacy, because oftentimes superheroes inspire others to go out here and be the kind of man that they want to be. And that's when I look at these Marvel Cinematic Universe movies. Again, they don't really yes, they include black people passively, but aggressively they show us these neutered, weak, emasculated black males. And these neutered, weak, emasculated black males are basically in the background of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they're not allowed to have the character transformation arcs that make them into men that are strong. No, they are made to be boys to do the bidding of the white male, and even now the white female lead characters. And that's basically turning a black man into a child. And that's what we see in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. A black man turned into a child instead of him being a full-grown man, which is what I saw in 1998's Blade. 1998's Blade was the last time I actually saw a black character acting like a man, and that's because Wesley Snipes was in charge of Blade, and he made sure that we got an actual presentation of a black man who was a full hero, had a full character transformation arc, had a somewhat love interest in Mbushi Wright, and was looking to save the black woman and protect the black woman. You don't get that over at Marvel Studios, and that's really, again, sad, because I would have loved to have seen a black man being a man. The last time I saw it again was in Blade, and I also saw it in Luke Cage. But when Luke Cage started to show us a masculine black man, they went out here and canceled Luke Cage just as he was becoming the Power Man. And as he was becoming a Power Man, he became a man. And that was something that the Marvel Studios didn't like. And that's why they ended Luke Cage, because Chio Hodari Coker had the audacity to show you a strong, masculine, heterosexual black man, something that we really don't get to see that often. And we don't get to see it that often because those whites in Hollywood, they don't want you to see an image of black manhood. They don't want you to see an image of black masculinity. And they don't want you to see a black man loving a black woman, because all of those images and narratives run counter to white supremacy. And because those narratives run counter to white supremacy, all they want you to see are these effeminate black males, these neutered black males, or these just emasculated black males. And they don't want you to, and the only reason why they want you to see them is because they want to socially engineer the idea that a black man is weak. but black men have great strength, and we need to see more of that so that black boys can see what black manhood is actually like. This is why it's important to go out here and support independent black-owned media like Concrete Comics, which gives you the images of characters like Acolyte and Absolver, and The Watchmen, which presents you strong images of masculine black men, or books like I do on the SJS Direct imprint, like the John Haynes series, which presents you with images of masculine black men who go out here and are looking to represent and protect the black community, and also present a positive image of black manhood, which shows you a black man who is also a hero, but is also loving and caring to a black woman, has a relationship with a black woman, wants to share love with a black woman. These are important things that black children need to see, because you're not going to get this with your mainstream media, because in your mainstream media, they don't see black first. They don't see black as important. They don't see black as a priority. No, they see you as being in the background of their foreground, and you shouldn't see yourself as being in the background of their foreground and see yourself as having less of a life than most of the white people in the world or these white characters. No, you need to read media and watch media that shows you as a black man being a man, because when you see yourself as first in the world, when you see yourself having value, when you see yourself having power, this makes you want to think of yourself as valuable and having worth. And this is why you have to be very careful about the media you imbibe when it comes down to things like the Marvel Studios, because giving your kids this type of media can mess with their mind and have them thinking, oh, I just need to be accepted by whites, when you need to be thinking about empowering yourself as a black person and empowering yourself as a black man to be the kind of man who can go out here and look to protect and serve your community. That's something I do with the John Haynes character, and that's what I try to do with the media I read, again, like Concrete Comics, things like Black Sands, a lot of great media out here, and you need to go out here and watch that kind of media, because this Marvel Studios media, again, it really devalues black manhood, devalues black masculinity, and while they promote diversity, they don't promote black men being men, and that's why this material is toxic, because I find it bad that, again, in the comics, I find it sad that in the comics, your Jim Rhodes can have a love interest, your Sam Wilson, I don't ever think he's ever had one, T'Challa has had one, but we don't really get to see black men being men. And if you want to raise healthy black boys, they need to see images of black men being men, not asexualized, neutered black males that are meant to fit into some white person's box that makes them acceptable to them. Now, if you want to pick up some of my black fiction on the SJS Direct imprint, like the ISIS series, the Eastdeem series, the John Haynes series, and the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, you can find all those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them on Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and coming to Kindle Unlimited, John Haynes, Dark Succubus. The man who rules the world is tempted by a sultry succubus in this all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get John Haynes, Dark Succubus in paperback or pre-order on Kindle Unlimited today. Now available in paperback and e-readers, The Temptation of John Haynes. Give in to temptation and pick up this action-packed African-American paranormal